Hey, it's Hill. I'm here with Charles, and we're going to be talking about the new trailer for Irrational Games' title, Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, so this is very exciting. This is an all-new game from Irrational, and here we see sort of the beginning of the teaser, and I don't know how much this actually has to do with this new game, because this looks like Bioshock. I mean, it's underwater, and it actually comes up on a Big Daddy right here. And I mean, if we stop it right there, that is a Big Daddy.
But you can also even tell, just being in front of a treasure chest like that, being immobile, that's not a real Big Daddy. That looks like some sort of statuesque figure, but it is, clearly it's got the drill arm, it's meant to be a Big Daddy. But we'll tell you something that's not revealed in the trailer that we do know. This takes place in 1912. So if Rapture happens in the 50s, how is there a Big Daddy in whatever this is in 1912?
Could it be that this is just a guy in a fish tank?
With a drill arm?
Yeah, I don't know. You need to get into that treasure chest.
And so clearly this is meant to make you think, this is Rapture. But then you see sort of a giant fish go by and the lights come on, and it's actually just a model of the Chicago World's Fair from 1893. And we actually got, we think it's our main protagonist, getting his head pulled out of a fish tank.
Yeah, so the main guy, his name is Booker DeWitt, and he's a private investigator. And there we see that other Big Daddy-like figure getting squished by a metal boot of another potential Big Daddy figure.
Charles, what's that a boot?
That's a terrible Canadian reference.
Thank you. So I would say, if you look at this mechanical arm, this is sort of the first reference that this really is actually a steampunk game. You know, you could not say that Bioshock 1 was a steampunk game, but clearly this is a steampunk influence. This is like, if you got like a robotic kind of arm, as you go a little bit forward, you're going to kind of be able to see that it's a head. It's not like a helmet like we saw in the other one. And then he's got a heart encased in some kind of liquid.
Yeah, and he's clearly ill-tempered. And if we pause here, this is the new city. It's called Columbia, and this was actually launched. It wasn't like a secret thing. This was launched by the U.S. as like a floating World's Fair type thing. Fairly unrealistic. I don't really think they had the tech to develop this kind of thing at the time, but I think we're supposed to sort of let that slide.
But perfectly fitting into the whole steampunk vibe. And then you can see that there are flags everywhere. You can see all the way into the background of the roofs of the little city, that there are American flags. And we should note that the city is not one kind of full unit. It's actually a bunch of sort of almost like little city-states connected together that you travel on rail to.
Yeah, they're connected through rail systems, and then you'll see in the trailer they actually move around independently of each other, so they're constantly shifting.
You can actually see like the little fans on it moving around like right there past that blimp.
Yeah, it's built with propellers and hot air balloons is apparently how it stays afloat. So yeah, apparently this guy, if it is the protagonist, if it is Booker, then he's not very well liked by the Big Daddies. And we see some of the propaganda elements come in here, where it says it is our holy duty up there on the right, and then underneath it says to protect them from the foreign hordes and the traitorous anarchists. And it's not really clear who that's referencing.
Well, it does show two little kids sort of saluting a flag in the distance. So as you see, when we're going to see like another propaganda poster later on, does suggest that there's something to do with children being maybe types of children, some blessed and some cursed, maybe.
Yeah, and again, going back and referencing like the original Bioshock with the focus on the little sisters. And yeah, here we see that there's some sort of selective element with, hey, this kid's great, and meanwhile that other one, I don't know what's going to happen to it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be very pleasant.
He does not look happy. And the other one gets to go off with Wonder Woman, which I think is quite great. And notice again, like this trailer is just the sort of the nationalism thrown throughout this is sort of so overt. It's it's almost sort of like parody, because it's just everywhere. She's wearing a flag. You can't look without seeing some sort of red, white, and blue on this.
Yeah, they're definitely beating you over the head with the overt kind of nationalism, and it seems to be sort of mixed up with religious elements as well. And then if we pause right there, that guy standing there, it may be very easy to think it looks like Andrew Ryan, but again, remembering that this is set in 1912, which is far beyond or before the events of Bioshock, that I'm assuming that can't be him. Unless he's a cyborg.
But I think that there could be a statement of having this little toy Big Daddy in a fish tank that gets smashed by sort of the real Big Daddy, that maybe Rapture, that as we know it, wasn't real.
That's true. Yeah, this may be an entirely different universe.
Called Bioshock just for sales purposes.
Yeah, I really don't know.
And so this is the part Charles was talking about earlier, where it's like the city is dynamic, so that it can sort of adjust itself as you move along. So this this kind of section of the city is actually raising itself higher.
Yeah, and also clearly, I mean, it's a much different type of visual style here. I mean, everything's super bright. It's like wide open environments, so you're not sort of in claustrophobic, waterlogged corridors anymore. And here we see evidence that, yes, there will be some sort of magic slash telekinetic powers going on here. This is actually the female lead, we're assuming Elizabeth, who Booker has sort of been sent here to find and bring back. And she has magical powers, as does, which is not shown in this trailer, Booker has magical powers as well.
Yeah, I like that you call them magical powers. But,
well, they are kind of magical.
Some sort of powers, yeah. Well, so we don't know why, but the city of Columbia doesn't want to let her go, and you're basically sent to find her. And she's here, she's saving you now, pulling you towards her, but bad things are about to happen, Charles. Bad things.
Yeah, so we got a Big Daddy, or what we're assuming is a Big Daddy hand coming out from behind the window there, and it's not clear if
Steam Daddy, we'll call him.
Steam Daddy. It's not clear if there's going to be another dynamic like the little sister Big Daddy dynamic from the original Bioshock, or if they're just like mindless kind of city protectors that just wander by themselves.
But we can clearly see there will be more cleavage than in the original Bioshock, so there's that.
Quite a bit right there. So yeah, that's the other thing. It's not really clear who the actual like ultra villain is in this, or megalomaniac city builder. Although again, it wasn't built in secret. It was built very much like up open to the public, and then just kind of something went wrong, obviously.
And as you can see, right as you're following that, you're over a bunch of farmland. So we're going to assume probably you're just flying out over the Midwest, maybe. So that's our first look at Bioshock Infinite. Sure that we're going to be seeing quite a bit more of it over the next few years before it comes out. For Charles, I'm Hill. Check out more on IGN.com.